sort of share with you is that activity starts at birth. Something we've been incredibly passionate about at Greater Sport. It's something I believe as a professional working in this industry, but also as a parent of 3 children who I've seen grow up, and you know, they run around. I think we were chatting earlier, Jack down there from UK Active, about his little ones, and you know, kids are designed to move. They do run around. It's kind of us that stop them in the end, stop climbing, stop reaching, don't get that type thing. So it is designed, it does start at birth, and we have to enable that, which is why I'm really thrilled now to welcome onto the stage a member of my team at Greater Sport. So Sharon Skade is our under-5s development and training officer, and she's going to bring you some really practical examples of how we're kind of taking a whole system approach to physical literacy in Greater Manchester, and things that you can kind of take back to where you are. But be warned, I don't know whether she's planning to do this or not, but she has been known to get people moving and singing at the same time. Nursery rhymes seem to be the flavour of the month, so I have no idea what's coming, but I'm sure it'll be fun. So please welcome Sharon.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to the Future of Sport 2018 Activity and Employment Conference. Now, I hadn't planned this, but I feel that I can't let my boss down now. So, I was in the room a little bit earlier and I dropped something on the floor, so if you just stand up, I'm sure that it will roll down the front to me. So if you could all just stand up quickly, it'll probably roll. And now that we're sort of all stood up, does anyone know where the head is? Yeah, you do. Does anyone know head, shoulders, knees and toes? Shall we give it a little go? Yeah? Are we ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, and eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Thank you very much. Please sit down.
Can I just say, some of you would not make a clinician?
What's really interesting about when you did that is that you were all smiling. A bit apprehensive when you stood up, but you were all smiling, and that's as adults. Imagine how that makes an under-5 feel, so let's just remember that as we move on. So I passionately believe that the future of sport, well, in fact, our whole future, hinges on providing opportunities from birth for children to engage in movement and physically active play. And that's everyone's business, and it benefits absolutely everybody. But primarily, and what should be the undeniable focus of all the work that we do, and at the centre, is the child. Within Greater Manchester, we have 39,000 births per year, so a little bit smaller than London, but at present in Manchester there is 225,000 children under 5 that we're trying to support. It's quite a big task, but we're trying as much as we can. What we're finding is that many of the early years practitioners and health visitors are reporting that key physical development milestones are not actually being met, and more children are being referred to occupational therapists and physios with delays in their physical development skills, and particularly around gross motor skills. Now, some of these cases can actually be linked to a lack of opportunity to have freedom to move from birth. So it's really important that we really do embrace that. So a quick little reminder of what physical literacy actually is. This slide on here is from the International Physical Literacy Association. But what we'd actually do from my perspective, and to link to the work that we're trying to do in Greater Manchester, is tweak that definition slightly. So for us, physical literacy can be described as the motivation, confidence and physical competence to enable a child to negotiate the physical hazards and tasks during the school day so that they can thrive, be ready to learn and reach their individual potential. So some of the tasks we ask our children to do at school: go to the toilet unaided, carry a tray around a dinner hall, negotiate space in a very busy playground, and sit still whilst trying to utilise all their core and trunk strength to keep their head up to focus on the teacher and hold a pen in their hand to manipulate and write. I'm actually quite tired even just thinking about all those skills that are needed. Yet, when I'm out and about, the question I'm asked most often is, how can I get a child to hold a pen correctly and sit at a desk? Now, obviously, this is not my main goal or objective, but it links to physical literacy and a child's journey to school readiness. At the ability to sit and write, at the very heart is a child having physical literacy skills and being physically literate. So, what I do is ask 2 little questions. Now, I deliberated long and hard over the wording of this question, and I appreciate that the body and individuals can adapt to achieve many things, and that writing can be done in any number of ways with any other parts of the body. But I use this question with early years professionals, and you do need your little clicker now, which should be in your little seat pocket somewhere. I ask this question of early years professionals to create a change of thought process and behaviour. So, there's our question. How many hands aid children in the writing process? There we go, look at that technology. I'm not doing that, it's nothing to do with me. So there's your choices, 1 or 2. How are we doing? We all there? All done? Okay, so the second question, which I can't give you. The man up there needs to do that. Do I need to click on? Oh, sorry. How many parts of the body aid the writing process? So there's your options there. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, or 30 plus. Okay, how are we doing? You all okay with that? All locked in? Lock your answer in. Are you done? Okay. I am sent many pictures, and the following 3 highlight the need to adopt a whole body approach linked to child development and should reveal your answers. So quite clearly, that picture shows you need 2 hands to write. Quite clearly, that picture shows you need to engage your whole body in order to write. So your answers should have been 2 and something plus. I can't remember what it was. 30 plus. So who put 30 plus? Brilliant. Who put 2? Oh, yeah. Okay. I utilise these pictures in training to engage practitioners to focus on the physical skills and body positions the children are adapting in order to fulfil the task they are being asked to do. So in this instance, they're being asked to sit on a chair and preferably write with a pincer grip. Initially, the answers back from practitioners will always focus on the pincer grip and how they can prove that with different size pens, different size brushes, different shape pens, different this pens, da-da-da-da. My role is to discuss the physical journey to handwriting, and that often we must actually go backwards to go forwards by revisiting the physical opportunities that children may have missed out on. These could include tummy time, crawling, tracking, hand-eye, coordinating both sides of the body, balance, crossing the midline, all of which need to be in place to support the hand in holding and manipulating a pencil. Again, I feel a little bit tired, so it's very draining for children to be able to write. A whole system approach to physical literacy must have at its heart child development needs. We often hear that it takes a whole village to raise a child, which I personally believe is true. So therefore, a whole system approach is required to provide the right environment for a child to thrive, to move, to play, to learn, and to do what their bodies are actually meant to do. The local strategy which I work under in Greater Manchester and links to my area of work is called Greater Manchester Moving. This strategy covers the whole life course, but within it, priority 3 is we will ensure that young people aged 0 to 4 will have the best active start in life, with physical literacy prioritised as a central focus to starting well. Now, I'm in the very fortunate position of working at Greater Sport that I can actually feed into this strategy. And one of the key aims of our organisation was to have early years physical literacy as a priority. We're very passionate about it. So that also links to our own strategy and Andy Burnham's headline manifesto statement. All our children starting school ready to learn and leaving with the hope of a good future. So if we move on to national strategies and academic theories, the most striking comparisons in both these infographics is that the individual or the child is the starting point. And whilst utilising different language, they appear to be person-centric. However, if we were to link both these infographics to Handy's Classics of Culture, a whole system approach needs to work through hierarchical structures in organisations which are often based on power, role and task, with the individual, i.e. the child in my particular case, or the individual on the population level, being the one with the least power. So, how do I go out and try and do things? Well, these are the roles that I have within Greater Sport. That's our knowledge, inspiration and legacy is what we're all about. So to do that, I need to get out and about, and I listen to the issues and concerns of frontline professionals and families and ask questions so that we can work together to find solutions, but also, again, because of the position we're in with Greater Sport, feed those solutions and issues back up through the system so that they can be acted on and changed. One thing that was apparent when I was out and about was that often different rooms within a setting didn't actually talk to each other. So a whole system approach for them had to begin with actually a whole nursery approach. They needed to speak to each other. Before we deliver any training workshops or activities, we spend a great deal of time consulting to ensure that we understand and can meet the needs of the professionals and, ultimately, make a difference to child's learning and development and ensure sustainability and legacy. Or, in other words, we take a whole system approach to physical literacy, very much person-centric, and understanding that one cap does not fit all. So this is the ethos that we work with under Greater Sport. Our approach is to work at building adult capabilities by providing them with knowledge, understanding, confidence and motivation to provide opportunities for children to engage in physically active play and revisit skills which they may not have had the opportunity to experience. And then practitioners gain the confidence to explain to parents the importance of physical activity and to help parents understand that gross motor skills are a prerequisite to reading and writing. We focus on what the child can do and then what they will be able to do with our support. However, it is very, very important that the child has a level of autonomy in this and that they are provided with an opportunity for free and unstructured play. The way we try and do things is one small change at a time. And in effect, what we see when we're out on the ground is making that one small change has the most enormous impact. It really, really does. We support early years professionals to make one small change of their choosing. And then once this becomes embedded in their practice, we ask them to make another small change. Or often, they will ask us what they can try next. Our role is to create an environment where physical literacy is part of what they do and is sustainable. On one visit to a nursery full of pictures of their children all around the walls, they were quite blatantly doing physical activity and getting benefits from physical development. But in all the comments next to the picture, physical activity was not mentioned once. We were approached by a local authority to help them with their Healthy Schools Award. So we looked at their physical development section and tweaked a few little bits with them. The document had 13 pages on healthy eating and 2 pages on physical development. What we actually suggested was, do you think, put the physical development bit at the front and then you're giving that greater emphasis and not making it an afterthought. This is also apparent in the early years foundation stage curriculum, where the Chief Medical Officer's guidelines on physical activity for under 5s does appear, but as a footnote. So the trend seems to be from the nursery, due to strategic and legislative documents, that physical activity and physical development is often just an afterthought. We really need to change that because at the end of the day, and in my opinion, physical development is the bedrock of all learning. My end goal would be to have the Chief Medical Officer's guidelines on the front page of the foundation stage, 13 pages of PD in that healthy setting, and every picture around every room pointing out physical development. However, it's very important that we don't just focus solely on the end game, and we really work at the parts that go together on that journey. If you focus on the end game, the main objective in a game of football, unfortunately not for my team at the moment, I'm a United fan and working at the Etihad, that really doesn't go down well with me, is to score goals. But if you spend all your energy creating a wonderful attacking lineup, and then, don't know if you've seen the film Kes, but if you put Billy Casper in goals, I guarantee you will not win many matches. We have to get all the parts together along that journey, not start at the top. We really do need to start at the bottom. So, a whole system approach to physical literacy. We cannot underestimate the actual impact of providing practitioners and early years professionals with the knowledge and tools they need to do this job correctly. The impact of a well-trained workforce is just undeniably, unbelievably fantastic. I see it when I go out to nurseries. I see their motivation and I see the effect that they're having on children. I will take back that we need to work out how we can get that in your system. That'll be a big job, but we will try that. So I suppose my last message is, if a child is physically active from birth, this supports brain development. We don't really need to say anything else, but I will. This helps the body work more efficiently and supports social and emotional skills. A child which is starved of physical activity can, at age 5, be 2 years behind in social and emotional development. So your 5-year-old in school will be reacting and need supporting as a 3-year-old. This follows through. Your 7-year-olds who come to your coaching sessions may be presenting as a 5-year-old, and that's the kind of support that they need. And this can follow all through the system and gets wider and wider, that gap. If movement becomes automated from a very young age, this frees up the brain to focus on higher functioning cognitive skills. We're not going to make every child a genius, and that's not what we're about. But we can, by a whole system approach to physical literacy, support every child to achieve their individual potential in whatever field they are passionate about, whether that's in the sporting arena. Why is the emphasis to teach a class in year 5 and 6 the rules of a game of sport and the tactics and the techniques when they can't actually coordinate the body, throw and catch a ball? We need to go backwards. In employment, if all these skills are in place, that gives them a greater opportunity to go and achieve their dreams. One last thing, a whole system approach to physical literacy. At the end of our training, we ask all attendees to write on a post-it note one thing they are going to try and change or implement into practice. So if there is something you feel you can look at changing, please write it down, take it back to your organisations and get children moving.